Coming and joining us this morning bright and early. So we are kicking off the last day of our first Green Business Forum here at ADB with a special plenary session on youth and green business. This is very exciting because they actually worked very hard to present what they're going to show us today. So I would like to now invite the chair of our session, Ms. Amy Leung. She is a Deputy Director General and concurrently Chief Thematic Officer of the Thematic Advisory Service Cluster at the Sustainable Development and Climate Change Department here at ADB. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I am extremely happy to be here. It is very, very early, 8:30, but I am happy to see, of course, I think people are still coming in, but a lot of you are already here. I can see youth, you're full of energy. You start early, so I kind of feel very energized too. So this session is extremely exciting. This is going to provide a venue for the youth to share their views on the key challenges and they're facing in green business, in the green business sector in the Asia Pacific. But importantly is to also highlight some of the tangible and very scalable activities and solutions that would help to create a more enabling environment for green business to develop. I was reading some articles and I found that even just in the waste business, there is like a $410 billion worth of market. So it's a huge market, and I think this is an area that our youth can tap into, plus many other areas in the green business. So this session will showcase the role of young people in green business, and also to provide very concrete ways in which they could partner with institutions like the ADB or others to promote green business development. The session, we have two components. First is a youth road mapping exercise, and the other is the solutions search initiative to identify very innovative youth solutions in the green business area. For these sessions, I'm going to introduce Sahin Hussain from our ADB Youth for Asia. She will introduce the youth's involvement in the Green Business Forum and also the road mapping as well as solutions. So let me invite Sahin to come up.
Thank you, Amy, for the introduction. And good morning, everyone. Very pleased to see so many of us here this morning to join us for Youth and Green Business. So I wanted to share a little bit about what exactly youth are doing as a part of this signature Green Business Forum and where we believe youth can play a role. So if I can introduce a little bit about the agenda. So to introduce a little bit about what we've been doing, as you know, this is the first ever Green Business Forum here at ADB. And in parallel, we have been hosting a youth agenda, whereby we have been bringing together youth from across Asia and the Pacific to brainstorm and to ideate and to bring about solutions of where they believe youth can be engaged to develop green businesses in the region. And how we went about doing this is a little bit complex or a little bit messy. And I think that's one thing as youth, we like to get a hands-on experience. We first started by asking the question, well, what is green business? And as we've seen from the forum so far, it's a complex ecosystem. So similar with our youth, we had a lot of philosophical questions about what is green business, but we also had a lot of practical questions about how they operate, who is running them, what sort of resources do they need. And in order to sort of tame this complex environment, we went through what is known as the human-centered design approach. And it looks something like this. It's a 5-step process, generally, whereby we put our stakeholders, our customers, those most impacted by the policy, the resources, the initiatives of yourselves, and we put them in the center to understand their needs and come up with real solutions for real people. Now, we start by empathizing. Now, as I mentioned, we brought together a host of youth from across the region, And these are young professionals, young entrepreneurs, students, community leaders who have a great plethora of perspectives of what green business means and how it affects them. So we created a space where we could ask deep, insightful questions, move beyond the surface to see what those challenges are. From empathizing, we went to define the key challenges that each of these individuals and their sectors face. By identifying approximately 2 to 3 of the top challenges, we could then create ideas for solutions. And again, I want to stress here that it's about putting the stakeholder at the middle of the design process. From there, we build a model, a prototype that we can touch, see, feel, and we can explore whether this solution can make a real impact on development and to grow green businesses. And finally, we test. So we invited our ADB experts, private sector partners to give feedback, real-time feedback on what they thought of the prototypes and the solutions that we were offering. Now, it seems like a simple enough process, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it's quite messy. It's a very reiterative design. There are times when you get, sort of stuck in one area and you want to play around with it as much as possible until you can find the solution that is most impactful to the stakeholders at the center. Now, from this, we have 3 very brave individuals who would like to share with you the outcomes of our road mapping exercise. And they are young, they're energetic, and I think this has been an amazing opportunity for us to engage in a real discussion with the decision makers around green businesses. So please help me to give a warm welcome to our first presenter, Gerald Tan, who will be speaking on green innovation and technology.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Gerald, and I'm from Singapore, and I'm here to talk to you today to you guys about green technology and innovation. Okay, so before I get started on green technology, just wanted to ask a simple question. Who here believes that right now the kids these days are more tech savvy than most of us right now? Could I just have a show of hands? Thank you. Yeah, so personally, on my own anecdote, I feel that my brother, who's 8, he's much better than me in an Xbox than compared to myself. So I can relate to that as well, despite me being a youth. And so I just want to emphasize that now technology has revolutionized our world and influenced how we live. We have smartphones, we have Wi-Fi, and right now we believe that green business will be the next future and also the next frontier. So, so to talk about the vision of the youth in green technology and innovation, so it's basically about a youth empowering ecosystem towards an inclusive growth of green technologies and innovation in Asia and the Pacific. So we sort of want to create an ecosystem to be inclusive. So what are the problems that we face with that vision in mind? We've realized that there is a lack of technological resources for pre-existing green technology businesses to sort of like scale up, as well as inadequate platforms to connect. There's so many green businesses, but yet they're disconnected. So we came up with an electronic platform. We call it the ecosystem, which is called the Electronic Collaborative System. It's sort of like a platform to connect everybody that is involved in the green industry. So the solution, in the platform, we will address 3 different solutions. So one is to connect every stakeholder through the use of an interactive map. So to further elaborate more, basically it just means that, say for example, if you're in Philippines and you want to look for green businesses in Philippines that are available, or green technologists, and you can just go to that platform and then you click on Philippines, it will blow up and then it'll show you exactly where these green technology and green businesses are located at. And then the second one is to scale up. So we sort of want to make a cohesive environment by introducing green technology and resourcing leasing. So it's something like an Airbnb for green technology and businesses. So we want them to share their technology, their resources between each other, and then to help achieve environmental and economical impact. And lastly, to monitor and evaluate how successful this platform will be, we plan to actually introduce a green medal system. So it's something like a system where we award businesses or collaborative projects with green medals, so as to sort of measure their capacity and how much they have contributed to sustainable development goals. Yeah. Okay, so before I move on to close, I'd just like to share a little story about one of the youths that's in my team. So we have a Japanese youth, Mr. Takeo. Yeah, so he actually shared with me that he joined a company in Japan involving organic waste material. And he realized that it has so much potential to go green, but no one has ever thought of it. So he, as a youth, he went in and then talked to the executives and say, hey, maybe we can go green with this technology. And that's what he did. And eventually he brought that technology out of Japan into Africa. So I just want to show that youths these days may potentially be the driving force of green technology. And we hope that the green platform that we have planned and thought about will be helping us drive the youths these days to further into green technology. And finally, to close, I truly believe that green technology will be the next frontier. Thank you.
Thank you, Gerald, for presenting on green technology and innovation. Then I would like to invite on stage Cheryl Lee, who will talk about how youth can play a role in creating an enabling policy framework.
Okay, I know it's very early in the morning, but can I just do an exercise with you guys? Could I have actually the people from this row all the way to here to please stand up, please? Come on, stand up. Okay, the people are standing here actually represent 60% of the people in this audience. 60% in translation is the amount of youth that are residing in the Asia and the Pacific. Okay, could I have the people from here all the way to here to actually put your hands up? The people that put your hands up, they actually represents 40% of the people in this audience. And 40% in translation are the youth that believe that the government has the power to affect a positive change. Okay, you guys can sit down now. So I'm Cheryl, and I'm from Singapore. And on behalf of the Youth for the Green Policy, I'm here to share about our the things that we have done for the past few days. The reason why I did that exercise earlier on today is that we hope that you see us, youth, as your partners in sustainable development. It's because together, we can make things better together. And the reason why green policy is so important to us is because we are the ones most vulnerable against climate change. And through this program, we have actually identified a challenge that was to have policy to meet the current needs of businesses. We want youth to be an asset for policymakers. But the thing that we see was the challenge was that policies are not able to meet the current needs of current businesses. And because we want youth to be an asset for policymakers, there was also another challenge that was the indifference of youth to the concept of climate change, green thinking, and green businesses in the Asia and the Pacific. Thus, our vision of the project was to empower youth through multi-stakeholder engagement, to putting humans in the center of focus in green policy designs for the growth of Asia and the Pacific. And with this challenge in mind, we actually came up with the 3 solutions to alleviate the situation. Our solution actually aims to understand the target audience, categorizing them according to age, socioeconomic status, and also the culture of their country, tap into the psyche of the youth and transform their concept of green thinking into a green lifestyle through campaigns and also social influencers with the emphasis of the immediate feedback that they're gonna get. And also, we aim to create policies that incentivize youth to go green and support green businesses. So how do we go about doing that? Well, our solution is to create the Youth ICO Lab. The Youth ICO Lab aims to educate and promote awareness and collaborations in green businesses through a youth innovation lab with multi-stakeholder representative. The innovation lab serves as a digital and perhaps even a physical space in ADB Youth for Asia for engaging and strengthening ideas and initiatives towards creating a green business policies. Through advocacy campaigns to promote sustainable and profitable business for our stakeholders. Through this lab, we actually have 3 main activities of focus. The first is empowering the youth empowerment. Through the empowerment of youth, youth can actually learn and develop ideas that can contribute in empowering others in a green business policy, and this can be facilitated through informational awareness campaigns such as workshops or car caravans. And with the lab, we can actually facilitate research through gathering youth who want to do a business in a sustainable way, but need supporting frameworks to do that. What's interesting about our generation is that we tend to pioneer things, new way of doing business. For example, Uber. We also see more and more community-based enterprises using garbage, for example. And an example I have here is a bag that was made by one of the community members here. It's actually made out of recyclables. For example, with examples like this, we can actually see that these businesses like this don't necessarily have the current policy and frameworks to support their work. Actually, earlier on, I actually passed by this enabling policy framework storyboard, and a quote that struck me most was that green technology can contribute, but we need to move beyond grow now and clean later. In the same way, we need policy frameworks that support these businesses to encourage them to operate in a responsible way. Having said that, we do recognize that there are existing policies already, and that's why a crucial component of this lab is policy scan. A policy scan that recognizes policy merits and also help question ourselves on how youth can contribute to existing policy. Another example for this was, remember during the conference of the first day, where we talk about the Korean Clean Conservation Act. One part of the act called for air pollution to be monitored. And there are specifications provided on which locations should be monitored so that a further action can be taken to reduce the air pollution. Youth can also use this existing act to understand policy frameworks more, as well as expand and create new ideas based on what it exists. They can look at existing policy and adapt it into a new area. And through the youth, we can actually create a sustainable growth because ICOLab is with you in making policy framework for green businesses in Asia and the Pacific. To end, let me urge the importance to work together because we have not inherited this planet from our parents, but we have borrowed it from our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl, for sharing on how youth can play a role in creating an enabling policy framework. And finally, I would like to call upon Audrey Helbuan, who will be presenting on mobilizing private sector finance.
Hi, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Audrey Halbuana from the Philippines. And in the past 3 days, me and my team have been here in the Green Business Forum, learning from each and every one of you on how to mobilize private sector finance here in Asia and the Pacific. Now you may think, the youth, what do we know about private sector finance here? And here's the thing. As Cheryl said a while ago, 60% of the population are the youth from Asia and the Pacific. And worldwide, we are 50%. Now, we make economic decisions every day. The growth of green businesses really depend on us. We have, the youth, a huge stake here to collaborate with private sectors here for green businesses to flourish. Now, we have two challenges, citizens' education and the fact that we do not have a proper green business ecosystem here in Asia and the Pacific. For education of citizens, we are the consumers. We dictate the demand and the supply of things here with private sectors. We are the ones who create and give people the options here for private sectors, green businesses or not. We get to choose them. And with green businesses, the moment we choose them, then hopefully private sectors would like to invest more with that. And then we have the problem of not having green business ecosystems here. With green businesses here, we need to connect and centralize the youth and the private sectors in finance here. By financing from private sector finances here, the youth and both private sectors can collaborate together, creating, as what Cheryl said, a world better for our children. So my children and hopefully your children and maybe grandchildren here may live in a better place than we do now, with more sustainable and eco-friendly acts that we do now. Through this, we have our vision. Our vision is for the youth to be able to mobilize private sector finance and for green businesses here in Asia and the Pacific. So with that, the youth plays a really huge part here. We want the youth to have critical understanding, not just like people chosen, the youth chosen. We have the general youth. We have students like me, young entrepreneurs who want to share more about green businesses. We have people who have green businesses already. And we would like to engage that by creating leads to raise awareness for these children and young people by creating training and workshops for them. At the same time, at the end, we have consulting and innovation for them. We have research, statistics, and done to deliver to private sector so that they may understand more on what green businesses are here in Asia and the Pacific. Now we have two applications that we have made. So you may think, again, another application. But as the first speaker said a while ago, technology is really something that we do right now. It's a part of our lives. Social media really is. Now, our first app is a gaming app where you role play as an industry manager. You get to make the choice whether to choose green businesses or not. With green businesses, if you choose that, then we have sustainable and efficient ways. And so hopefully, we can create alternative ways for that. When you don't choose green businesses, you get to see the consequences you do in the future too for our children. And with this application, we hope that it changes the mindset of consumer behavior here. Our second application is a social hub where you centralize green business initiatives, collaborations, and networking here in Asia and the Pacific. If you see, these two applications complement each other. The first one's to educate, and the second one is how to partner and mobilize and centralize green businesses for private sectors and children. With that being said, these applications will be creating jobs, alleviating poverty, and saving the environment. As I said a while ago, with the youth's engagement and willingness and the power for them to be able to engage with green businesses, and by the financing of private sectors here in Asia and the Pacific, hopefully green business will really thrive here. Thank you very much and good morning.
Thank you, Audrey, for that presentation. Now, as we see, youth they understand green business. We've looked at it from a multi-stakeholder perspective to see youth as both consumers and producers and define green businesses as those that look at a triple bottom line. That means people, planet, and profit. Now, to give feedback on these presentations, I would like to invite Amy Liang and Daniele Ponzi on stage to share a little bit about where they think ADB and our partners can drive these solutions forward.
So my understanding, but first of all, I am extremely inspired by these three cases. I understand we have received over 100 of these solutions and ideas, and it is just very motivating to see, first of all, the passion of our youth in creating solutions. And I find many of these solutions, they are, first of all, people focused. I mean, they're really focusing on making the world a better place to live, to make our development very sustainable, but having the youth, having people like us, also not so young anymore, to benefit from all this. And I found the solutions very practical, also very scalable and can be replicated, not just in Asia, I think it's throughout the world. So I'm extremely excited. Now, I'm not an expert in green business. Danielle is our technical advisor on environment and green everything. So I would like to ask Danielle to share his thoughts on this youth in green business.
All right, thanks a lot, Amy. And yeah, it's really exciting to see so many youth and so much green business. And the statistics given at the beginning, 60% in Asia Pacific and around 50% of the rest of the world, tells us something that the future is really in the hands. The future of green business is really in the hands of the youth, in the hands and in the minds and in the hearts of the youth. So, well, I believe since the beginning that this was going to be an important part of the Green Business Forum, and I'm happy to see this room nearly full, and everybody definitely excited. We have seen various components, and later on I will also give a reaction on the various awards. But what I would like to say here, that this morning, coming to ADB, I was thinking on the way, what are the real assets of the youth? We always hear about social media. They are the ones into the real tech in terms of especially communications and social media and all of that. But what I think is that the youth are ultimately the real source of creativity. They are naturally out-of-the-box thinkers. They are allergic to authority sometimes and bureaucracies. So I think they are the real ones who can move and really drive a good change and radical changes sometimes, which is a very important asset. And in many ways also the youth are the ones, not only through the social media, but because they are coming from communities and they are close to people, they can really work and act and effectively implement activities as watchdogs. They can report on the type of work that institutions, governments, private sectors, other players do, and they can keep an effective watch on what is really happening on the ground and who are ultimately the beneficiaries, in terms of people, but also in terms of pollution and natural resource management type of outcomes. So the youth can really, and it's been in a number of cases here in ADB, also through our youth program. We are the only MDB, as far as I know, to have such a youth program, which is also so successful in terms of the youth increasingly participating on a number of ADB activities. And one last point also I wanted to mention is that the youth are, because of their skills and natural talents in the social media and other high-tech type of environments and apps and all of that, they are effective communicators. And when we are saying effective communicators, it's not really delivering a bright speech. It's just being with the people, getting the right type of messages, and talking from the heart rather than from the mind, and having the kind of enthusiasm and passion. Because at the end of the day, and I may be pronouncing it in an Italian way, full of passion, and misspelling and mispronouncing, but passion is at the center of our actions very often. Unless we have passion, we don't believe in a certain cause, and that's why we thought at the beginning to have a forum like the Green Business Forum, which is not a sectoral kind of technical, sector-specific type of approach. We thought to put policy, governments, private sector, people working in innovation in technologies, people working on the green finance sectors all together, which was a real challenge when we have been organizing this forum, and putting also the youth as one of the key components. And we are seeing some good outcomes of this because it's really something that is happening, and the last 2 days we have seen a lot of good exchange and discussion. So I will stop here, and maybe one last thing I will add, that in being effective communication, being with the people and able to communicate with the people, they also can really be the powerful message network and spreading the messages, beyond the youth also in some cases, and really get to all across the population and the people who can really make the investments in green business and in a greener future. So I'll stop here for the moment. I'm not sure the program, where is it going? I think we are supposed to have...
You still sit and wait for some instructions.
Yes,
from
I
me
think
and
it's
from someone
Zahine
in
Hussein
the
is
audience.
supposed
But
to...
I very much agree. My colleague is also very, very passionate in the green everything. So you can hear from him that he is, I think, speaking exactly like the youth, full of energy and passion. But I totally agree, the passion, and also in this case technology. I think all the youth, you are very savvy in technology, and technology nowadays is the communication. So you can actually spread, communicate far better and faster and make it more effective. And I think this has made this exercise, as we started early in the beginning to say, we have a road mapping of solutions and also solution search, I think has been extremely successful. We haven't shown you all the submissions or searches that we have received, but it is just amazing. So I would now like to ask Sahin back on stage to present introduce the solution search process and also the winners for the search.
Great, thank you so much, Amy, and thank you. Can we get a warm round of applause for our speakers here? I think you can take a seat. And I would like to invite now our speakers. We can exit the stage for the solution search, and I'll speak a little bit about that. But before I do, I'd like to first thank Daniele for giving us the opportunity to be here in front of you today, to bring youth participants to the flagship Green Business Forum, and also to be the one to present awards for the Solution Search winners. So Daniele, you'll be staying with me a little bit here. And not just Daniele, of course, but his whole team, especially I believe Aaron, who is a very big part of making this a reality. Now, to introduce a little bit of what is the Solution Search program. It is the signature program of ADB's Youth for Asia, whereby we look for innovative, scalable youth initiatives or solutions across the regions. And we tie them to sectors here at ADB, as well as their contributions to the Sustainable Development Goals. And these youth solutions that we're mentioning can be they can be social enterprises, they can be youth organizations. And what we try to do is keep entrepreneurship at the center of problem solving, whereby we can harness the energy and passion of new ideas and scale them for effective development for an Asia and the Pacific free of poverty. Over 1 month for the Green Business Forum, we ran marketing campaigns, and in partnership with incubators and accelerators, we were able to gather 108 solutions here in Asia and the Pacific for green businesses. Amongst those 108, we have selected 3 winners to join us here today to present and showcase their solutions. So first, I would like to play we'll go one by one. We'll start with our video from Sherlock Shane Rodriguez of Hygie Energy. No, we will be starting with Risa, with Risa Gama Srigar, who is going to introduce in the video about rubbish jewelry. So I believe we had a bag that you saw here on stage. She is actually the producer of that bag, and we'll see exactly what her enterprise is about.
Our house is near at the river, and as last year, the water really blocked almost a kilometer on that in our river. So the flood in the water from the river is really right.
We have a story to share. It is not just about overpopulated water hyacinth, it is the waste accumulation. Now, what if this waste could actually make change? This is one thing all of us here in Haiji Energy wanted to do. We want to search for a solution that's matter, the solution that could address a big share of market demand. So we head to the Philippines. While traveling across the border, we see people cook with firewood and charcoal. We walk into the house. It was very smoky. It was unbearable. It even irritated our eyes. The heat, the smoke, the fire. Think about this. Under such circumstances, they have to cook every day, 3 times per day. This is the problem of in-house air pollution. We found that 4 million people die every year, according to WHO, World Health Organization. We wonder if we could bring change to this. We start thinking the impossible. What if they could burn something smokeless, cheaper, or even greener? We soon engage with different stakeholders to see if it is possible. After a few months working on it, the problem and the solution start to have degrees of connection. What if those people could cope with the waste, yet it is smokeless, cheaper, and greener? The plan has soon been executed. We are so excited about positive feedback from our stakeholders and the beneficiaries. Training for the local people, awareness presentation to inspire the students, engagement with the local authorities, research and development with university professors. All this had happened because we start with a problem and just do it. There's something so strong to believe in. For sustainability, Haiji, everyone can go green.
All right, so can we have a round of applause for our first winner? Now, my sincerest apologies. It will not be Risa from Rubbish, but rather it will be Sherlock Rodriguez, who will be representing Haiji Energy. So can we please welcome Sherlock on stage to receive her award. Thank you. Thank you, Sherlock. And now we would like to give our second award to Dinesh Silvamurthy from Malaysia. And we will see what Rinyon Technologies is all about with his video coming right up.
Hi, my name is Dinesh. I'm the founder of Rinyon Technologies. We specialize in energy management solutions. Avis is our cloud proprietary solution which combines low maintenance hardware with analytics software which we created in Malaysia itself. So what this does is that it's a tool that combines energy management tools as well as sensors to help both commercial as well as high-end residential users to reduce their consumption. Now, we have done multiple projects across Malaysia, and we are moving forward. We'll be targeting the Asian region as well. And we do hope that for moving forward through the assistance of Might as well as the mentors, we hope that we can grow Rinyon to be not just a national company, but a regional company, catering to the ASEAN region particularly.
Great. Thank you. And now we would like to invite Dinesh up on stage to receive his award. Thank you, Dinesh. And finally, with Ms. Risa Sirgar from Rubbish Jewelry.
Rubish, from rubbish to ruby. As we know, the volume of waste keeps increasing. So where does it end? Each person may generate around 1 kilogram of waste per day. 116 million tons are dumped annually. Each year, 16 million tons are buried underground. 0.8 million tons are burned. 0.6 million tons are thrown away to the ocean. So what do? We collect the waste and we do the upcycling. We make them into beautiful products. In the end, we put the products on the market. From these bottles, we made stunning and elegant jewelry. Is it not beautiful? Please consider supporting us.
Unfortunately, she was not able to join us this morning, but as mentioned, her booth was here set up in front of the cafeteria, whereby you could see jewelries and products, handbags made from recycled goods. And if you would like to find out more, please Google rubbish jewelry, and by all means, we would love to connect you with Risa in the future. So again, thank you so much to our Solution Search winners, and can we please have another warm round of applause for them? Now I'd like to ask Daniele to maybe say a few words about the Solution Search winners and his thoughts on these solutions.
Yes, it's been an exciting process looking at all the various applications, go through the selection and then the finalists, and we were really having kind of doubts, because they were all so good. In the end, we selected the 3 winners, but we think that many of the others also would have deserved some kind of awards somewhere at some point in time. And as you know, when you select the winner, it's because you want to try to highlight the innovation content, but also the opportunities and the potential for upscaling, for replicating, and for actually seeing what things work in reality on the ground. And at the same time, also, is an opportunity to showcase and to actually show around not only the close friends and people who are already working on green business, but the wider public, and not only the participants of this forum, but the ones who will access our website or through the various apps, and will get to know about the awards and the winners and the competition overall. So it's an opportunity to showcase their work. And finally, it's also an opportunity to see how ADB can get involved in some of these youth-driven type of technology developments. And so in that sense, it's an opportunity for ADB staff, management, but also people who work with ADB, like consultants and people like the youth and others, to see how certain things really do happen. And sometimes they need just a vehicle or just a space or a platform to actually get more popular and more known, and a little bit of more like a promotion type of work that we can do here in ADB. So thanks again for all of you, and the selection has been exciting, and I think we should have it more a regular kind of process to get and select more and more these green technologies type of things. Thanks.
And once again, thank you everyone for joining us this morning. And to give our closing remarks, I'd like to invite Amy Leung back on stage to share a few words.
Thank you, Sahin. Congratulations to the winners and also to the participants who have, given a lot of thoughts and energy in coming up with really, really good solutions. I think today I have learned a lot on, their practical solutions and business ideas on green technology, on waste, renewable and clean energy, and that's only more on the technical side. But there's also, a room for us to develop solutions on policies. Policies, how do we engage in changing policies through the youth? And importantly, of course, all of this would need money, and there are solutions to involve the private sector. So, I mean, there's just a range of solutions that I think we can use, and I really appreciate. And I believe youth, you are the change agent, and I think ADB should work with you more. And I think there is value to build probably a youth network of all of your passionate, very dynamic, and committed youth to kind of leverage on the efforts you have already put in to make it into more, deepen the engagement in green business. And I think through the development and dissemination of the youth roadmap, we can do a knowledge product and hopefully build on it. And I think ADB is very keen to further develop this idea to create more tangible solutions. So with that, I think I will close this session, and I want to thank the ADB Youth for Asia team for making this session very successful, and important, of course, to thank the Green Business Forum for giving us this opportunity. So have a good morning, and please continue to participate in the rest of the sessions this morning. Thank you.